The deadliest war in history didn't start with an invasion. It started with a peace treaty, signed 20 years before the first shot. This is how the world built World War II. In 1919, the victors of the First World War gathered at Versailles to punish Germany. The treaty took an eighth of its land, capped its army at 100,000 men, demanded crushing payments, and made Germany sign a clause accepting all the blame. Millions of Germans felt not defeated, but betrayed and humiliated. Then came catastrophe. In 1923, hyperinflation made German money so worthless that people papered walls with banknotes. The economy barely recovered before the Great Depression struck, and by 1932, 6 million Germans were unemployed. Desperate people listened to desperate voices. The loudest belonged to Adolf Hitler, a failed Austrian painter who promised to tear up Versailles and make Germany great again. In January 1933, he was handed the chancellorship, and within 2 months, German democracy was gone. Then he began testing the world. He rebuilt the army, openly breaking the treaty. Nothing happened. In 1936, his troops marched into the demilitarized Rhineland. France and Britain did nothing. In 1938, he swallowed Austria and was greeted by cheering crowds. Still nothing. The democracies, haunted by the last war, would pay almost any price to avoid another. That policy was called appeasement. At Munich, in September 1938, Britain and France handed Hitler a piece of Czechoslovakia he had demanded. Prime Minister Chamberlain flew home, held up the agreement, and promised, in his words, peace for our time. Hitler took the rest of Czechoslovakia 6 months later. Appeasement was dead, and Britain swore to defend his next target, Poland. But Hitler had one more move. In August 1939, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, sworn enemies, signed a pact promising not to fight each other, with a secret clause to carve up Poland between them. The trap was set. At dawn on the 1st of September 1939, a German battleship opened fire on a Polish garrison, and 1.5 million soldiers poured across the border. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war. The conflict that followed would kill more than 50 million people. The lesson of 1939 is not that war is inevitable. It's that a war this big has to be built. By humiliation, by desperation, and by a world that keeps deciding it's someone else's problem.